What did your brother do that school wanted to sweep under the rug? My 10-year-old brother Peter made a false 911 call from school and was now in police custody. Or at least, that's what the principal said when he frantically called me over the phone. Miss Fletcher, your brother is in custody. He made a completely false emergency call claiming there was a weapon at school. The officers are here and they're talking about pressing charges. I didn't understand. Peter was the quietest kid I knew. The type who'd apologize if someone else bumped into him, who still slept with his dinosaur nightlight. Would he really do something like that? When I burst through the office door, I found Peter sitting between two uniformed officers, his small frame dwarfed by their presence, and tears streaming down his face. The principal was pacing frantically behind his desk, shirt soaked with sweat, gesturing wildly at the officers. Officers, this is completely unnecessary. The boy is mentally ill. He has severe attention issues, behavioral problems. He called 911 because he was bored. This is attention-seeking behavior from a troubled child. Peter tried to speak up, his voice cracking. But sir, Arthur brought. The principal's hand shot up immediately to stop him from speaking. Officers, Peter has an overactive imagination. Last week he claimed our janitor was a spy because he had a walkie-talkie. The week before he insisted the cafeteria was poisoning students. He just makes things up constantly for attention. The officers exchanged glances, doubt creeping into their expressions. I finally pushed past the principal and knelt beside Peter. Then I took his hands in mine and spoke as calmly as possible. Peter, look at me. Tell me the truth. Why did you call 911? My brother looked up with those big brown eyes that reminded me of Mom's. Arthur Brennan brought something to school, he began, voice getting steadier. The principal immediately interrupted, almost shouting. A toy. A simple toy. A keychain. Completely harmless. Officers, you should leave. This is embarrassing. The Brennan family is very respected. Major donors to our school. This false accusation could damage their reputation. But Peter shook his head vigorously. It wasn't a toy. It was real. The younger officer started taking notes, both leaning in now. Arthur's been mean to the smaller kids all year, Peter continued, words tumbling out faster. He calls Kevin Four Eyes and breaks his glasses. He pushes Ravi into lockers because Ravi is short. He even makes fun of Denny's stutter and takes his lunch money. The principal's face turned purple. Boys will be boys. This is hardly criminal. Peter wasn't done, tears flowing but voice strong. Today at lunch, Arthur cornered them behind the dumpsters, and that's when he pulled out a knife, a real hunting knife with a black handle. He pressed it against Ravi's backpack and cut through the fabric. He told them if they ever fought back or told anyone, they wouldn't make it home. The room went silent. I was so scared, sis. I could barely breathe after that. Peter looked at me, gripping my hands tighter. But then I remember how you had told me that if I ever sensed real danger, I should call 911 immediately. You said it's better to be wrong than sorry. So I went to the bathroom and called because I thought someone might die. The principal opened his mouth to argue when the door burst open. Arthur Brennan, the boy with the supposed knife, walked in, with his parents behind him. But instead of defending their son, both parents walked straight to Peter and me. They bowed their heads deeply, with the mother already crying. Thank you, she said, and her voice nearly cracked. Thanks to your brave brother, we found the knife in Arthur's locker before he actually did something. The father's face was grim. Everything your brother said is true. Arthur admitted to all of it. The threats, the bullying, everything. We had no idea. If your brother hadn't called, he turned to the officers. Please, handle this properly. Our son needs real consequences. Those boys he threatened need to know they're safe. We'll cooperate fully. The principal had backed against the wall, face white as paper. But the liability, he muttered weakly. I had no knowledge. The school can't be held liable. The officer snapped his notebook shut, staring at the principal. We'll be discussing why you tried to prevent a child from reporting a weapon on school property. 3 months later, the principal was gone.